After we worked at Richardson, a couple of years later, we started working at a second archaeological site that's produced quite a bit of the story for this very early maritime occupation of the area. And this is the site we call Kilgii Gwaay. It's on the very south end of Moresby Island, or it's actually on Ellen Island, just between Moresby and Kungit Island. And this is a site that was occupied between about 11,500 and 11,400 years ago, when sea level was still rising very quickly towards its early Holocene high point. It came up to about 15 meters higher than today, around 10 or 11,000 years ago. This site was occupied while that sea was still rising very quickly, and it is being quite useful because as it rose very quickly over the site where people had been living, it drowned all of the evidence and then buried it with shell hash and marine sediments. And it's only recently become exposed as sea level has dropped again, or the land has in fact risen, and is now available for us to look at in the intertidal zone of this particular area. Because it rose very quickly, not only were the stone tools and charcoal that are left behind by the people that were living there at that early time preserved, but also we find a lot of bone for the animals that the people used, that they lived on, and as well a lot of wooden artifacts, organic artifacts. A whole variety of animal bones, for example, about 15 or 16 species of fish, a similar number of birds, half a dozen species of mammals. Clear evidence that these people were very well adapted to the maritime area at this early time. The wooden artifacts, again, very, very unusual to find at any archaeological site, let alone dating back to around 11,500 years ago. These included not a great number of formal tools, although there were some, but a lot of the debris from making tools, little shavings of wood, whittled wood and things like that. Some of the artifacts that were recovered that we were able to understand exactly what they are included a very nice wooden wedge made for splitting planks. It's clearly carved. You can see the carve marks from whittling away with a stone tool and how it was sawn to make the end the right shape. We directly dated that wedge, which is a typical northwest coast type artifact, to about 11,400 to 11,450 years ago. So clearly they were splitting planks with these wedges at that early time, doing heavy-duty woodwork. We also found a tiny little piece of twine, a 3-strand braided cordage made of split spruce root. It's a tiny little artifact, but it tells us a great deal about the types of things that these people could have been doing at that time. So with this technology, making cordage like that, they could be producing baskets or clothing or nets, a whole variety of other organic tools that we haven't yet found. So these are some of the wooden artifacts we found, as well as what appears to be the handle of a basket, some wood that's been wrapped with split root cordage.